Hello guys, welcome to another virtual biology lesson. I have an announcement for you because it turns out that we have finished a whole chapter about cold-blooded vertebrates, which means that you might expect a test soon. And today we're going to go through all the points that we've been talking about once again in a nutshell. But regardless of what's happening, on 17th of April, we are going to have a test, and there are two options. Either we will have it at school, or if the school closure extends due to the uncertain situation with the current pandemic, it might take place online. If it happens at school, then you know the rules. So basically, we will come back and we will have it. And if it takes place online, then it will be an online survey for you to fill in. If it happens, then the survey will be available only for an hour, so you have to take that into consideration, and it will take place exactly the time that we have our lesson, which is from 10 to 10:55. Regardless of what's happening on 17th of April, you might expect the test because on the 10th of April we do have the Easter break. So, guys, the things that we've been talking about during this chapter was we started talking about fish, and we have talked about all the elements such as adaptations to live in aquatic environments. So basically, how their bodies are built, that they have gills, that they have mucus, that they have scales, that their body has a certain shape that allows them to move in water more freely. We also talked about life cycle, that fish are oviparous. That means that they lay eggs. In case of fish, the eggs are called the roe. Uh, and basically, what you have to do is to revise all the things that we have been talking about fish. Then we have moved on to amphibians. And again, adaptations. And also, we have learned about their life cycle. That they lay also eggs, which are called squawk in this time. That we have learned that from that squawk, what hatches aren't adult frogs, but tadpoles are hatching, and only then they are transforming into young adult, and then the adult form of an amphibian. Also, we have learned that they are two environment animals, which means that, of course, they breathe with oxygen. The adults breathe with oxygen, but still their environment of life is strictly bound to aquatic environment. We have also learned that there are three kinds of amphibians. Some of them have tails, so those are coded amphibians. Some of them don't have tails, which are called the tailless amphibians. And we have also learned that there are limbless amphibians that basically look a little bit like earthworms. And the next thing we were talking about were the reptiles. We have learned about adaptations to live on land. So we could include in this like skin, which is dry. So that implies that they don't have to spend their lives in water, which is absolutely true. We have learned about the fact that they have better developed lungs, so they are better adapted to living on land. We have also learned about their life cycle and the fact that reptiles lay eggs. And by the way, here is the solution to the question I asked in a previous podcast, which is what was first, egg or chicken? Well, evolutionary wise, the egg was first because reptiles they lay eggs. And from reptiles, birds have developed, so their heritage after reptiles is among others, of course, the fact that they lay eggs. Chickens evolved later after the big reptiles went extinct, and by this I'm talking about dinosaurs that went extinct more than 60 million years ago. So egg was definitely the first, and actually chickens are the closest to dinosaurs. So yeah, if you look at the chicken, you would never think about the fact that it's somehow related to those majestic dinosaurs, but indeed, they are. And guys, we have learned also about groups, four groups of reptiles, which are lizards, snakes, turtles/tortoises, and crocodiles. And guys, what I want you to know, to be able to tell from this chapter, those chapters in general, are things as following. First of all the things that are listed in here, so adaptations and life cycle of each of the group, but also significance of them, of each of the groups, so why amphibians are important, why reptiles and fish are important as well, how we as humans use them, how we need them, what makes them important, and also what's their impact on the ecosystem. So some examples of them you should know. Of course, you should already have them in your notes. Also, I would like you to be able to tell examples of species of each of those groups. So I could ask you to list down two species of fish. That's quite easy, like seriously, herring or carp or I don't know, anything that comes to your mind. The same thing with an example of an amphibian. So those could be frogs or toads, some specific ones. Also the reptiles. So we could have an example of a lizard. So in this case, for instance, salamander or tortoises, anything that comes to your mind. And I would also want you to think about the ways of protecting these animals. So I want you to be able to tell what actions we can take in order to protect them from going extinct, from limiting the number of population. So this is all the things that you need to know. For today, it's done. I'm done. But guys, please revise a little bit. Please spend this time on this little assessment I left for you in the assessment section. And please do this because this is, well, you're working for your own grades, let's say. So, guys, take care, stay at home. That's the most important right now.